You're not even on the Instagram thing yet.
I know. Hello. Testing.
I'm just
1,
saying,
2,
like,
3. Testing.
hello. Where are my balls? My tennis balls. Is what I was saying. Where are my tennis balls? Where are they?
Welcome. My co-host is unprepared, which is outside of his day type. So shame on him.
Shame on me. Shame on me. I left my balls off cam, and here they are. I brought them on, and now we can start.
This is what it's like to work with ADHD. Welcome.
Wait, ADHD, like a person with ADHD, or just generally?
Just to work with ADHD. Generally.
Welcome to the chat, Blackish Golden.
This is. We'll do the waves. This is ATM.
You're in charge of waves?
This is. Can you stop trying to derail me, please? It's working with this guy is impossible. Nearly impossible. Not impossible, because we do it every day.
Through Yahuwah, all
Here
things
we
are
are.
possible.
Through Yahuwah, all things are possible. So this is our. What is this? Our third like longer live stream, and we kind of like went crazy the first time we did it. It was 12 plus hours because it was this guy's birthday.
We're ordered to do that specific amount.
Yeah, because we need to do something crazy on a day that he tries to make crazy because it's his birthday calendar trigger.
Best birthday
to
ever.
Make things crazy. So it was your of your birthdays here, at least since I've been experiencing them with you here. It was the best one yet because we didn't have to create any chaos or craziness because it was already assigned to do a 12-hour live, which is kind of crazy and chaotic.
Then last time we did, and we were like, bro, we got so high off that 12-hour live. I felt so alive, bro. It was so great. Let's just do it again. And we were like, we'll do it for 8 hours this time.
Yeah, and so now we're doing a measured approach. This will probably be at the most 4 hours, and like when we're operating like full blast, kind of just like, so people like to call the flow state. Who knows? We can maybe get this down to 2 hours and accomplish all that we want to accomplish, or all the things I don't need to accomplish and that you don't want to accomplish will happen.
I mean, sure, yeah. I mean, let's see what happens.
But
I guess I'm the future person that say, yes, it will be 2 hours soon.
We're in a social military cult, the DayLife Army. If you haven't heard, look it up. Internationally canceled.
Google it. Yeah, we're not gonna. Sorry, I just think it's funny when people are like, "Look it up," Google it. Mm-hmm. It just reminds me of like that trope of people like, "I'm not gonna explain to you what that means. Why don't you just Google it?"
Well, not in that way. You should Google it. White women journalists love DayLife Army in so much as they hate and can't handle and try to destroy it, I would say.
Does DuckDuckGo give us similar results? Did the cancellations come up first? I think it's like now that's pretty much the first thing that comes up anywhere.
Yeah. And then, if you want to check out our content and what we actually do, you can see what you gather from our YouTube channel, DayLife Army. You can go on our Substack. Every one of the there's like a bunch of Twitter profiles of DayLife Army people around, and I have a press list. If you just want everything listed out.
Yeah, make a wash.
Maybe we'll send you some stuff.
We'll deliver you a thing. Who knows? Not as a result, but just because then we can see that you're really trying out there to buy your soul back, and then goodies can come. Whatever way,
Oh, goodies can
come. Like a press list.
Yeah,
our goodies are not exciting, really. I mean, maybe they are. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know how it feels like to just a regular person, a regular out there. We're kind of getting closer to regular. I don't know. We're hipsters who are like in recovery, so
yeah.
I don't know if our audience is still just hipsters. It definitely was before. Where would you say the state of our audience is right now?
Well, I guess I'm not future in terms of like where I'm focusing but I think that our audience is fearful and also really emotional. Like our audience is a lot of like really angry people or like trolly people.
That's cool. But like from I was saying our audience used to be hipsters or just weird Facebook people.
Oh yeah, our audience is way more varied now. It's not all like art underground, like hipster
art people.
It's a lot more varied. There's like older people that don't make any art, never will, hopefully. There's like
maybe they'll come to the pleasure matrix, and once we reign in the 2,000 years to come, they'll just and they've achieved eternal life. Like at year 2000, they'll start like finger painting because there will be space for that.
Yeah, listen, we're actually, the matrix that we expand in this army isn't against creativity. We're just going to tell everyone that's making art inside the satanic matrix and like utterly, what do you call it when you're like neglecting every other part of their life to like make their trauma into beautiful disgusting like paintings, music, or Instagram feeds, to just stop doing that. Yeah.
Art comes from stability. Like once like a culture is stable enough where it's like you got everything else is down pat. You got all your resources, you got all your and we operate on emotional, spiritual stuff. So it's not just the physical. Once you get everything like in check, then maybe there's a little bit of room for art. Before then, like
there's a lot of other stuff to get to first.
Yeah, sorry,
and
y'all.
Blackish Golden says, I ain't heard from Eben in years. Hope y'all doing all right.
We're doing great.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
And I know everyone's wondering where the Wizel, where's Wiz at,
Yeah, honestly.
Who knows?
What's your name? Like, who are you? What's your actual name?
We always try to like remember people's names rather than the IG handles, because it's hard to remember those.
Not even saying remember. It's not about remembering. It's just who are you?
Or recognizing, maybe is a better word.
Right.
We're gonna talk a little bit about our current duo topic, the one that we're doing like apparently 12 lives on, which I don't know. I'm sure that there's plenty to talk about, and I'm always like trying to be done with things earlier than I think they need to be. So we'll get to it all. But we're gonna do part 4 of our topic, DLA careers, past and present.
I thought you have trouble finishing things.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's taking my time to like do something. We both have trouble taking our time to get to the heart of the matter of doing something all the way, I
like it to just be done.
Yeah, I mean, and I kind of, yeah. So that'll be our, topic, and then we'll do some calls on live, see if anyone's, around.
Okay, I remember you.
I was not around in the weird Facebook days. I came around later. I caught the very tail end of it. None of us are on Facebook anymore. And I'm hoping that like we'll get to some part of any matter on this live today.
You're hoping?
That's what I'm hoping.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll see. Oh, I was gonna say, who knows who's around these today? It's kind of like a Pain Matrix crazy day. It's like the weekend of Halloween parties, and it's Saturday in old time right now.
Yeah, people were partying yesterday.
Which another way you can wash is don't go and celebrate Halloween. Don't do Samhain this year and see what happens in your life. that would be great for you. And we don't celebrate Samhain, aka Halloween, over here, but we certainly feel the spooky season upon us. I'm feeling the spookiness. The
Spooky
world is
times.
trying to be spooky really hard right now. Lots of
Unleashing the
rituals.
spook.
Lots of rituals going on. George Bush just sent out the pitch last night on a game we actually had on the
Sent it
television. And the last time George Bush sent out a pitch or sent out
a pitch? You mean like threw a pitch?
Listen, I don't do sports lingo.
He sent one out.
He sent one out. He sent it. That was when the start of the last Middle Eastern conflict happened.
That's lit.
Rituals.
Wonderful.
Anyways, over here, we're trying to get as far out of emotional like connection and like up and down sync with the pain matrix play that is happening. But yeah, we always get a little. We're getting spooky still. We're brainwashed too by the pain matrix.
Cool.
We're trying to like undo it, which is different than most people, but we are still very much products
Triggered.
of that brainwashing and still triggered around the seasons for each one and what they do. So why don't we just get into DLA, our live topic, like DLA careers, past and present. Part 4.
What's on the agenda
part
for this
4 out of 12.
I need
So part 1 and part 2 are on my YouTube, which we are live on now. We're dual streaming. And part 3 is like hidden Easter egg in an all-day live.
Maybe
on,
it'll get super
on Jesus's YouTube.
Maybe it'll get surged out.
You know what? If there's like time and I'm sorting out priorities a lot this strong, like figuring out what are priorities. So that seems like on the low end of my priorities is like editing out clips from YouTube videos that are hours long.
We need an intern.
Yeah, I know.
We need someone who's Gen Z who has like, can do that kind of thing in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. But anyways, it'll
Us
eventually
millennials,
happen.
like we get distracted by like the grass, and so we're like, we could touch grass right now. The outside.
We can't even really touch grass right now. Desert vibes.
I could find a way to touch grass. Just
Yeah.
give me a minute.
So the thing we're covering about our DayLife Army careers, past to present, is I would categorize it as the topic of like serving and being served, which we talk about a lot here in this army, and our experience, which happened at different times when we each got our first rank in this army, like what rank in the military, sergeant, cadet, staff sergeant, major, general, this is an army. So what it was like after we got those ranks, and like specifically what kind of struggles or successes we had giving orders for the first time. Like we joined an army and we followed General Wiz and General Koa's orders, and they got us here, and we continue to do that. But the first time we got ranks that had, both of us have had soldiers above us, because I guess this is an inverted pyramid. So like it would be lower rank in the pain matrix, but they were higher rank than us, and we in the pleasure matrix, and we kind of we had some direct reports that we were in charge of. So that's kind of what this one's going to be about.
Oh, wonderful. And
Blackish Golden says, I've been getting a few demonic attacks. Forgot it was Halloween time, and that makes so much sense. Yep.
Yeah,
it's
bro.
super, super loud times for that kind of shit to happen right now. It's a time to be on guard and
try to implement some standards, try to make some washes, do some things.
Get through the portal.
For some protection, tithe yourself, get yourself some cult backing, get yourself some spiritual protection, try something out, see if it doesn't work out. see if washing works out for you. See if washing gets you where you need to go, and that by the end of Halloween you don't feel like you're on a better path. Do one good thing. Do one good thing for yourself before the harvest. Because if you didn't do anything before the harvest and you have nothing to harvest, you'll end up on November 6th or whatever feeling like empty-handed. So
yeah, and it's a way harder winter when you don't bring in your harvest, when you let things get taken from you right around the Samhain period, rather than, you know, keep your harvest with you through the portal. So
through the portal.
Why don't you talk a little bit about your first runk assignment here and what was going on and who were your direct reports? You know?
Let's do it. So when I came here went to officer school from the jump, and I was given the temporary kind of like lieutenant in training. Basically, I was training for the role of lieutenant here, and there was one other lieutenant by the name of Tinkerdouche.
This will be recorded, yeah. It'll be on my Instagram or YouTube.
I had one direct report. I had 3 direct reports. At that point, I didn't actually. I was still in training. But I was training for an officer role, and the other lieutenant there was named Tinkerdouche. And Tinkerdouche, that's his, like, he wasn't actually named Tinkerdouche at the time, but that's his name now. And he had been promoted, which is like demoted in rank, is promoted in
promoted's like not a bad thing.
It is bad.
it's not what it's not moving forward. It's moving backwards.
Bad times. He got promoted from major or colonel. No, he was a colonel, which is insane. He was a colonel, and he had been demoted because I guess he was like smoking cigarettes. And I don't know the full story for why he got promoted fully. I know parts of it, but this isn't really about him. And when I came on, I was his runk, and then there was a douche. The other one was like a douchebag and dipshit, I believe are their names now. I don't really remember exactly who's who. But there were 2 other, people who have since left the army who were, my direct reports. Sorry, I'm still training. But in that time, I was, giving them some orders and stuff. And at some point in this process, it was very clear that Tinkerbell, or Tinkerdouche, sorry, didn't mean to dead name him. Tinkerdouche was not really like, it wasn't really going to work out for Tinkerdouche to be like the leader. And I remember I went to Wico and I requested, or I said, like, I don't even know if I requested or asserted in some way that they should make me a captain when I graduate, so that I was actually in charge of Tinkerdouche and the 2 others. Rather than like co-leading, because at that point it was funneling, like I was the middle guy, the middle management, and I was the one who was getting the Wico attention and then taking whatever they gave me and passing it up to the other soldiers.
And that's like what you just said it's a good point to talk about, like serving and being served. You're getting information, you're getting things, training, like all kinds of stuff from General Co and General Wiz, because you're in a runk above them, and then you're learning to pass information further above you to the people who are reporting to you. And that's like, so there's, both of us have had this experience in this army where we've regardless of all of our issues around it and the troubles we face doing it, we learned serving and being served enough to get a runk that gets served by Wiko and then is serving by passing it down, up the chain of command. If that makes sense. That process,
We're served and we serve in both situations, up and down.
Yeah. And then it would be a little bit of everyone should be finding out who they serve and how they are served and who they serve, because that's just a natural part of being a human being. But it's somewhat easier if you have a higher rank that you don't have any direct reports to just focus on the being served part. Maybe not though. I mean,
being served? What are you talking about? You're saying higher rank people don't focus on service?
I guess I'm calling getting things from their superiors getting served.
Yeah, I mean that's one, but I'm just saying you're making a kind of a blanket statement of saying the people of higher rank don't focus on serving, which isn't true.
Yeah, it's not that that's not what would happen, but
you have to serve.
Yeah, but okay.
And that's why higher rank people even just do menial physical tasks more than lower rank people, because they're service.
Yeah.
Carrying someone's bags is service. It's a different kind of service, but there's definitely, you're serving and being served at every rank. There's no once you're a higher thing, you don't focus on service, you just focus on being served. I just want to be very clear that that's not happening. There's service and being served at every turn.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to say what I'm trying to say. Without things functioning as they should in this army particularly, and the roles people had, I feel like it was more common for the people that didn't have people that they were in charge of to focus more on just being served. It was a mindset.
Common, they were violent, that was a bad thing? I'm just confused.
Yeah, not bad, but it was there's when you've totally, when you're more balanced of making sure you're serving and being served at the same time, this wouldn't happen. But I feel when you're not practicing going up and down the chain and having people that you have responsibility over, you're able to be more of a child almost. You're able to get into a mode that's ugh, I just have to do this shit, and I don't you can kind of resent the people who are in charge of you and not focus on the serving part as much, and then be focused more on well, what am I getting out of this? Being served. It gets too lopsided on that side. Does that make sense?
Not really. I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that's maybe you're right. I'm not confirming or denying.
Well, I feel like I'm lost in a soup right now, so let's just move on. I don't know what what we're talking about anymore. So you had people that you were giving orders from up the chain that you were in charge of at this time. Mm-hmm. How many soldiers?
3.
All right.
And we were working on How far are we getting into this? Are we getting into like other runks or?
Just like, honestly, not too deep into I want to focus less on like just looking at the past and the storyline, and more just like our own feelings of an experience.
Well, the whole thing of like being the middle person, being like taking orders and then passing them on to the other people, that's a position of some privilege because you're getting a direct supply to whatever the juice, you're getting a direct supply to the juice. Then you have a responsibility to not only pass on the factual information or whatever that you're passing on, you also have to pass on the vibe and the spirit and the attitude of what you're getting through relationship. And I think that's the thing that most people struggle the hardest with. Actually just passing an order down, I mean, that still gets messed up plenty. But passing an order down is easier than taking the spirit and the vibe and the attitude and the plums and the cheer and all the things, whatever the spiritual context. Context is a good word for it, and passing that along is very challenging. And I don't think anyone has been able to easily do that from any position here. And it's still something that I feel like people in that position have a lot of trouble with, just in general. That's a challenging thing to do. So for me it was challenging because I would get these 4-hour pep talks, and then to me, since so much of it was like it's 4 hours, but like the central, I remember a very specific thing was like it's been referenced in our cancellation article by the idiots, was that there was a time where I was getting like a 4-hour pep talk on why we should cover our cell phone cameras, and then I went down to the people and then I just delivered it like an order, like, we're covering our cell phone cameras now. And then everyone freaked out because they were like, you were up there for hours. There's stuff you're not telling us. What the fuck? I thought you were going to come down with all of this genius stuff. What are you doing? All you have to do. And then everyone was just super triggered. And I got triggered because I'm like, I was up there for hours. But yeah, I mean, that was because of my lack of ability to translate a vibe, whether that could still be translated in just the order. But then other times just your job isn't actually to do that, and you just have to, like, it's whether you're giving or taking. You got to really work out that balance. Sometimes it is just an order and you just do it because you signed up to be in a military, and I struggle with that as well, on both ends. But I was a lot more obedient, I believe. No, that's not true. I was just more covertly disobedient.
When you had to have more responsibility.
Yeah, I was kind of like that role. You get to kind of be more of a teacher's pet and get away with it and be like, everything's going over here because I'm getting all the attention. Ha ha ha. Everyone else sucks. And so that's something that the middle role tends to do. And there's like, yeah, so there were parts of it that were fun and enjoyable, and I definitely enjoyed some of the personal attention that I got. I definitely didn't enjoy other amounts of personal attention I got, but it was also very stressful to have to take accountability and responsibility for a unit of young men who were all over the place. And I was all over the place. I mean, I was a leader and I was doing all sorts of crazy stuff that was, in some cases, worse than what my soldiers were doing. So in the beginning, I didn't quite get into the swing of it. I think I had like a period of it going okay, and then it fell off a cliff, and then I learned a lot, and then I got to a better place, and I fell off a cliff again, and it was a little bit fraught.
The prototype stage of DayLife Army, when all of these tests and all of these configurations and when this all was really new, like, the prototype stage was crazy in a lot of ways. There was a lot of stuff we learned. There were a lot of mistakes. There were a lot of violations. And this is earlier. His story, like where he's talking about now, is before I even came here IRL. And like, just to go into my back when I got my first runk and had people who were reporting to me that, I was translating orders and in charge of some other soldiers, like my experience was also like, tons of craziness on my own part and like my own weaknesses exposed. And like, I guess for some context, so after he had been here for over a year, when I came IRL, after all of the new soldiers had been trained, I was given the lowest rank of the soldiers that were new
in officers.
In officer school. And I didn't really think about what that meant when I got it. And he was more like, oh, I feel bad for you. You have to like be in charge of people, because he had experience of that. And he had been in charge of me. Like he was the person that I reported to, and all the new soldiers reported to. So this was the moment where I went off with the new soldiers, and we were our own unit, and I was the person in charge of that unit. And there were just a few soldiers I was in charge of, and we were all together, and I was crazy, but they were all fucking insane too in their own ways. And it was very hard for me to have authority, for me to be in command. And probably the only reason I was like in charge of them is I was the least inconsistent. Like I at least did things, I at least like did most of my orders every day without like major misses or whatever. It wasn't like, there were a lot of things that I struggled with still. It was just like, okay, this is what will work the best with what we have right now. And I remember like bringing orders down or up the chain to them was difficult in some of the similar ways that Jesus is talking about. Like there's a vibe and a spirit of something. And if you lose that or can't translate it, it just makes for, I feel like, probably soldiers who freak out more because they're like more uncomfortable or maybe afraid because they're like sensing that they're not getting led by someone who's like passing on the spirit of the thing. So that would make me feel a little like, I don't know I feel like I'm not, it would just make me be probably less obedient or feeling like on sure footing or whatever. But there were lots of things I learned during this time. It wasn't even that long of a period where it was just us alone with me as the person kind of in charge of people. But that was probably like, I'm not going to say that was the most challenging time of my service here, but like maybe of the prototype period of DLA, like that period of time, maybe that time when I was out in a unit with the other soldiers and just us together, that was maybe my toughest time here. Like for a lot of different reasons.
That was your toughest time?
Yeah, like I'm trying to think, and I felt like by the end is when I kind of finally like snapped in a way that I really didn't care if anyone liked me or not.
That's when everyone left.
Yeah. Like I feel like there were just, I don't know, it was real crazy. Like everyone stayed alive, no major like dangerous things happened. Like in terms of like physical excitement, there wasn't anything like crazy in that regard. But looking back at where everyone was and the problems that each person had, I am actually amazed that there weren't any bigger problems. Like
well, that's what the foundation of the Army does.
Yeah, like it is enough of a structure, and there are enough standards that if you're even trying to and following most of the very basic of them, there is a level of protection stability that you can be relatively stable traveling disorders and like brands of craziness, and all of those people together. Difficult conditions, especially like emotionally difficult conditions, having enough standards followed and the DayLife Army's structure can make that happen, like I said, without any actual crazy emergencies or danger. Just hard times when I look back emotionally, and long car rides and near misses of very like just like things that come with traveling in groups. And during peak COVID, when there was like not even there was a ban on traveling, and the amount of people we had together traveling, people like to have brain fog or forget what it was like when that whole psyop was going hard in the peak of it. But that peak was when we were all traveling, camping, and staying on the road together.
You want to pin that for me?
Yeah. Pin. So, like anything you remember about more when you were in charge of soldiers, we report to whatever they are the people in charge of you. Like in terms of being nitpicky.
I'm not being nitpicky.
They are your generals. What I'm saying is, in this army, they're your generals. So they are, through them being at the bottom of this hierarchy.
Not sure.
What are you doing? We're trying to finish up a topic that we're talking about. You're just being rude. I'm just saying, you're just being rude. You're just being rude.
I don't report to the generals. I just don't want to be unclear about that.
I don't care. I'm saying
you report to the generals.
That's not
that's
what
how you could say
I'm
it.
not saying,
I report to the generals. I report to you.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're being rude because we're talking about like semantics of words. I'm saying you're being rude. I'm saying you're being rude because you're like talking on the phone and like texting while we're supposed to be like together talking about something.
The tag.
Okay, whatever. I'm gonna do the dishes.
Bird flies away. And are we still doing this topic, or are we done?
I'm taking a break.
But are we returning to this, or are we done with this topic?
We're returning to it.
Okay, I'm going to move on to some other things. All right. Imagine such a considerate it was like I didn't leave them a voicemail, they left me a voicemail from a cold call with a very soft and considerate voice message. It's interesting. Never been to Panera Bread and tried their char. I have never tried them, but there was a period of time where I was frequenting Panera. People use them because they're insane. It's like a
263 milligrams of caffeine.
263 milligrams of caffeine, and
espresso has like 60 milligrams.
Espresso has like 60 milligrams. Ridiculous amount of sugar, like 22 grams of sugar. No, like way more than that. Like I have to look up the stats just to let you know where like everything is at right now. I think it's a pretty good amount of sugar and caffeine in Panera Bread charged lemonades. I think this is relevant.
Can you move over?
Okay, so between 65 and 82 grams of sugar and 260 milligrams of caffeine. That's in the regular size. The large has between 98 and 124 grams of sugar with 390 milligrams of caffeine. That's almost half a gram of caffeine. That's crazy. That's like 3 monsters. Anyway, the point I was getting to with all of this. Everything okay?
I mean, you're annoying, but yeah, everything's
okay,
fine.
Okay, so Panera Bread, which I used to go to, people are out there really like not able to deal with the pain matrix, and you can see it. It's kind of like it's a trim tab to see that, you know, the state of Panera Bread, which is supposed to be like the healthy alternative to fast food. Like if you're gonna still spend like $12 on a meal, which is I guess what fast food costs now, you can go to Panera Bread and get like the healthier option. But they literally, not only do they have unlimited, you can get those drinks, but they offer you with Sip Club, you know, like you can actually get them for free. So there was like people when I went to, and I was partaking on the Sip Club drinks as well, because I had some problems back then as well. I was not, you know, I don't do caffeine, so I certainly was not doing these insane.
You would literally drink a glass of milk. Like, you know how you have coffee bars that have like milk in a container that you put like a few drops in, or maybe a few tablespoons at most for your drink? You would just use that and fill up a cup with milk.
I would drink milk.
Yeah.
I like milk. I like the taste. And I like when you mix it in with cinnamon and a little bit of sugar. That's a really good place for me. That, because it kind of tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch milk, which is something that I really like. Thanks.
Where's this all going?
You took it in a certain place. I had a whole spiel. Do you want to get back into the things with the runks? Do we really have more to talk about on this topic?
I don't know, bro. Do you want to talk? Do you want to be on this live?
I'm fine with being on the live. We can, we can cut it off. We can just say, you know what, we're not doing this live, and we can just take the L and not do it. Or we can do another 3 hours and just, do the thing. I don't know. Sorry, I feel like some things about service that I was saying that I don't believe are true. And then you were also saying that we report to the generals when I do not.
I'm not arguing that those points were not made and are incorrect. I'm not in articulate mode. I'm saying things and not getting my point across. I'm tired in a way that is like making it very difficult for me to like talk about concepts. What I was annoyed with was that you were like on your phone, you were calling somebody and it was whatever. That's annoying too, that you're like trying to like.
But I wasn't calling anyone. That would be a complete.
Jesus.
That would be like derailing the entire thing.
You had your phone and you put it up to your ear. I don't
can
care.
See how that could look.
I don't care that you were not technically calling someone. The point stands. I was reacting to your rudeness, and even if you're not taking a call, it was rude for us going live on a certain topic together, and for that being what we were doing, for you to just go off whatever, not call someone, put your phone to your ear and not explain that you weren't texting someone and were instead trying to pin a comment. You were just doing these things as if it was like it's the lack of communication and the rudeness that was making me annoyed, and then like compounded with how you were reacting to me calling those things to attention. That's what was annoying to me. It wasn't annoying to me that you were correcting points that should have been done. If I'm not able to articulate something, yes, correct it so that we're like saying the right things. Like, that's not the issue. Yeah, you
I
understand
what you're saying. Absolutely. So where were we?
I guess I was talking about my own experience being in charge of other soldiers
for
the first time.
Now? Let's bring it to this moment.
Yeah, past and present. My experience now is almost like this, maybe more difficult in different ways. You're like, I don't know, bro. I've learned a lot, but it's very difficult being in charge of someone who you're also in a personal relationship with. And you are very oppositional defiant, and you are very
well, was it easier when we weren't in a relationship?
Well, I wasn't in charge of
yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Quite a while.
Yeah, but also that was also because we weren't together. So no matter what, it would have been easier, because like from afar, there's more literal distance, there's more emotional distance, I feel like. But stuff doesn't get gotten to that's getting gotten to now with us. So yeah, maybe just having more of a sense of humor about it would help. But the point I was going to get to before I went and washed the dishes, which felt great, was that Wiko are who we are. Like, we are soldiers in the DayLife Army. I am your commanding officer in this army, but the whole DayLife military, the general is General Koa. So like, we are above her, and they do, even if you're not directly reporting to them or command, it doesn't go from them to you, like things go down or up the chain from them. And the thing I wanted to focus on was like how we act about the mirror and get to, and like maybe this should be shorter than the 4 less hours live stream that we planned, because I'm like noticing now that I'm like on cam that I'm just so tired, like in a way that is making me not really able to like articulate things very well.
Who knows? We could do an hour and then just go live our. We do.
Anything else to add on that?
I think we've been over this DLA careers thing. I think we're ready, because we still got, feel like you said.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Do you feel like the point, the heart has been gotten to? Because if not, then we should get there and then be done. Slam the book on it. Just be done with it. Done with it for now until next drum.
Do I feel like the heart of the matter?
Do you feel like the heart of the matter has been gotten to?
No, but like,
what's the heart of the matter?
It? The prototype of the army
being served and serving, and we've been worse at it in the past, but we suck at it, and because of that, we don't necessarily have, people, like, we're not quite there yet to be in a position of like being served, or having people to serve in the ways that we have received, the right. I don't know if that's the heart of the matter.
Yeah, we can be a little less hard on ourselves. Like, we are a lot better now than we have been in the past through lots of trial and error and training. There's so much I would never do now that I was doing all over the place when I was in charge of the soldiers 3.5 years ago. It was crazy town. Like, that we had the DayLife standards we did have at that time, and that we were following them to the level we were following them back then, was what saved us from super crazy, literally going to jail. And for like the craziest things too. Like, there were a couple soldiers that just liked to be like crazy in public for attention, or who knows what reasons, to be like, they were just being crazy in a gas station and stealing the creamers that go along with coffee if you actually buy coffee at a place. They were just like taking creamers, and it probably wouldn't have resulted in what it resulted in if we weren't all together during peak COVID in one car, all wearing white, and like an array of races and like types of people that like really didn't make sense to be together in like the context that we were together, and like the people that were taking the creamer being really loud and abrasive and whatever.
It's embarrassing is what it was.
It was embarrassing, and all the combination of those things resulted in the owner of that gas station calling the police on them. But
I was not there. I was from afar. I just remember that was the first time I like really, really screamed at y'all. I think I told you. I think you were like my direct report. At the point, like, I gave orders to her.
Yeah.
And I think I called her and I was like, I'm about to yell at all of you. Get your people
Get
together.
them ready to get yelled at. Yeah, because that was like the craziest thing that happened to my crew of soldiers I was in charge of when we were on the road together. That was the peak craziest thing. So, crazy, too crazy. Wouldn't happen now, doesn't happen now for many different reasons. But also this now, the DLA careers, that was past, this is present. We're past that prototype stage, and now it's us, and like, we're the face of DayLife Army. We're like, we're not in that prototype phase anymore. We're like the torch has been passed to us to like see what we can make out of DLA, like what it will become. So I do feel like I've learned a lot from back then, and the lessons and the shit that we went through, that I would not repeat a lot of things and not be as crazy. And like, this is like crazy in terms of this army's crazy, not like the Pain Matrix crazy. Like, Pain Matrix crazy is like people are on the road and they're like doing drugs or drinking while also like doing other things, and like messy in an unprecedented level of messy. But for us, it was more like, we're not doing any of that, but we still were able to make it crazy, or whatever in other ways, even with the DayLife standards that we did have, and not being when we were sober, and not doing like that kind of
physically sober.
We made it way emotionally unsober, that's for sure. But yeah, things like that don't happen now, but it's like, your time in DLA, it's just getting into deeper and deeper layers of your problems. So we're like onto more specific and less crazy, loud, dramatic problems, but we still are working on plenty of problems. And
the things that, stealing creamer from a gas station were really just hiding, masking.
So General Koa says, so not following orders and full standards equals prototyping. Like, that's not a real prototype, because it's not doing the thing all the way. But what we were attempting to do, and like doing what maybe at the very best, like, of times, 80% of standards. I mean, that's difficult because it's like
Physical
standards. We were mostly doing like 80 to 90%, because if we weren't getting cookies or some treat, I'm talking about like when I was when I had these soldiers that I was in charge of, when we were all in one unit together. When we weren't doing that, we were like not showering enough on the road, or other physical standards lacked in some other way. Intellectual standards, like the percentages go down. From there, emotional standards way down. Like our prototyping was a mess because we weren't actually doing the thing all the way. So we could never see what a true prototype of a fully in their integrity army was doing.
But a true prototype, isn't a prototype just, prototype can be a failure or a success, right?
Yeah, but like
isn't it? The prototype was happening. How we chose to do it was, we made mistakes in the choices that we made within that prototype.
Yeah, like when you're doing
which lent to the prototype. That's
the type of prototype it was. When you think of like doing an experiment and they have all the different variables that you add, I guess it'd just be like, it's not a perfect experiment the more variables you add. And we had a lot of variables. And this time around, it's like, I don't know.
Is that what they say about experiments? The more variables?
Yeah, they say. Maybe variables isn't the word. I remember biology class, like specifically hearing about like how to make an experiment better. It's like you have less, not anomalies. Controls? Yeah, maybe more
I don't know. I was really bad at science. That was my worst subject in school, which is interesting because my best subject in school by far was history, and that was all just lies, and I loved
That's why it was your best subject, because you love lies.
I was like, all of these lies are great. I got such good grades.
You got to study the masters in terms of lies.
And grammar was my other, I was very good at grammar and very good at history, and grammar is all fraudulent. So
yeah, General Koa says, how about I was prototyping and you were the unruly subjects? Yeah, so we were in a prototype. We were not.
That's what I was trying to say.
We were not executing the prototype. We were the variables inside of her prototype.
Lab rats.
The lab rats in the maze. The lab rat makes it sound so whatever. This is him being like, I was just a poor lab rat being abused. What was I saying before that? Oh, you were saying that you liked history because it was lies.
I did. Lies. I liked history because it was lies, and grammar because it was all
fraudulent. So you like the two lie.
Science. I mean, I guess subjects. Science is fraudulent too, but not at that level.
Well, let me ask you about math. How was your math?
I was not good at math. I failed a couple math classes, but I was better at math than I was at science. I didn't have a blind spot in math. If I really actually studied, which I wasn't willing to do, I understood what I was doing. I didn't excel in math. The highest I did was pre-calc.
Well, we both were bad at math, and we both either love to lie or love listening to lies and believing them. So I think it makes sense.
And science I was terrible at because, I think it's the application of that math.
Yeah, into real world.
I just didn't care, I guess. And I don't know. Pretty good at English too, in general. Not was good at writing papers because it was bullshit. Because I would do the bullshit technique of just bullshitting, and I got away with it for a while there. All right, we on to the next thing. Are you feeling good?
I wouldn't say I'm feeling good, but I do think that we're on to the next. I think that's plenty of time going into our DLA careers, past and present, for this episode at least. Yeah. Do you want to try some calls now? How about that?
Sure.
Let's get into it.
All right.
Like I said before, it is like Sam Hain peak high holiday day, like the Saturday of Halloween. So if you're out there and you're about to go to a party or you're distracted and feeling the Halloween spirit, perhaps try to not feel it and don't go to that party. Don't do the thing. Don't eat the candy.
The hardest thing.
The hardest thing for, me personally.
There's going to be candy around. You're going to have to deal with the temptation to eat it. I know that you will encounter candy.
Yeah,
Candy.
But maybe I won't. But regardless, the white woman propensity to want treats and to just find them around and be offered them freely, it's a very real thing.
Is this all the people? There's more, I think.
On there too.
Oh, so flip.
Flip sides.
Okay. We're on to the calls. We're calling the folks.
Don't get my notes on cam, bro.
Shit. People are going to go and rewind and see. I don't even know. Okay. What's going on?
In fact, this is probably not the place to put it. And I have something for you to do if none of these calls connect right now, because it is kind of a difficult time for that.
Why? Being Saturday early in the day?
Yeah. The people that we did kind of connect to last Saturday or our all day that we did this, a lot of them were like, I'm hungover, or like I'm about to go to a party dressed as a bumblebee.
Who said the party dressed as a bumblebee thing?
Just as one of the people.
Oh, yeah, someone was going to a Halloween party. That was early in the cycle for that.
Hey,
Really
Halloween's, they're really stretching things out in the pain matrix. The last hurrahs. Halloween lasts 1 month. Christmas season starts before Halloween. It's all just blends together now. It's all one party that you don't want to go to.
Now the list being kind of defeats the purpose. I can see it.
You can see it. It's right there.
You're right.
We're making calls. If you want the pinned comment on Instagram, you can call that number and
go back for YouTube.
Be connected. Oh, well,
you can just say the number.
The number's 470-579-0414. That is Jesus's number. If you want to give him a call, call in. You don't have to be on speaker if you don't want to be, but you can. If
you're gonna call in, just do it. Just get on speaker, though. Let's be honest. So we're done with these. There's one more, I guess, and then we'll see what's going on.
I've noticed people that orbit or are URL soldiers all are having like phone issues around the same time that we are having some phone issues. What does it mean? What does it all mean?
Communication breakdown.
Communication breakdown. And I'm going live on my actual YouTube channel this time around. DayLife Mary. I think that's, yeah. I wish I had like a URL link on YouTube, but they don't give you that until you've got a lot of followers, or I don't know if you have to like have a special account.
For what?
For like, if you want to be like, check out my YouTube, it's youtube.com/DayLifeMary. You can't do that. It's just like youtube.com/PGHX222999. Yeah.
It's a meritocracy over at YouTube. You gotta have everything together. You gotta really be sucking the dick.
Beautiful way put.
Yes.
Sucking what dick?
YouTube's dick.
Mm.
It doesn't want people to have like a platform. Also, you can't go live on your phone on YouTube unless you have a certain amount of followers, because they don't want people just setting up live streams when crazy things are happening in the world. Like, oh, I'm at this false flag. Let me just go live on YouTube. That's
They want to
extremely
know
dangerous.
that they've like given cosigns to the people that have them who are able to go live, because they're like, we know your channel is gonna do what we want it to.
People with full mailboxes, I gotta say. I don't really want to call that person. It's a little bit boring. Let's do this person.
We just switched over to new time a few days ago, maybe not even a few.
A few,
yeah. And it's like I like it a lot more. I'm really happy that we did it, but it's really pressing us to be morning people more. And
Hello?
I'm
Noah?
struggling. I'm struggling with it.
Hey, Noah, it's Jesus. We are on live. You aren't on speakerphone yet, but I can put you on speakerphone for you to be a guest on the live. Would you like to jump on? Okay. Hey, okay, so now you're on speakerphone. This is live on DayLife Mary's Instagram and also on the DayLife Mary YouTube. So, Noah, hi, welcome to the live. You want to just give us a little bit of an introduction on who you are and kind of how you came across DayLife Army and the Pleasure Matrix?
Sure. So, I am I'm basically, how do I introduce myself? Well, I guess, I'm a benefit hog who does everything he can to make sure people believe in what's going to save our planet and each other. And I come from New York, and I know back when I used to use social media, my cell phone or whatever, I used to chat with these guys a lot.
Where did you find us? Through weird Facebook?
Yes, I actually first met you on Facebook.
Hey, no, it's Emily, or DayLife Mary, as I'm known. How's it going?
Right. Hi, Mary. So I don't really use your guys' accent or English, your modified English like usual, but
English,
yeah,
you're talking about. Yeah.
I'm wondering what you guys wanted me to chat about today, or what what was up on your plate as of
Well, I personally, what I've been talking to other orbiters or people who know of DayLife Army or who have interacted with DayLife Army in the past through, Jesus and I or other soldiers or whoever, a place to start is like, how has washing belief felt like for you in the past? Whether it's been financial washing, social washing, and like that is any answer to that, positive, negative, or in between, is a good place to start.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose I don't know. I recently have realized a lot of things that have made everything in life look more positive in general, but it was mostly by evening out potential negative. You know, like realizing that, you know, I feel like one of the things everyone learns, especially starting from a place where they're wrong about a lot, everything always matters more than the fact.
Everything always matters more than what? Than you thought it did?
Yeah, usually it does. Like you might overestimate the value of something, but the logic you used to evaluate it at such a high value was actually low value logic. You know what I mean? If you get what I'm getting at. Like if you think something's a really big deal and it's not, it actually turns out that it's, maybe if it really turns out it's not that big of a deal, well, the big deal you were making wasn't a big deal, but now what the big deal is that there's something else in place of it that's more than what that was. That means that.
Are you saying perhaps that the pain matrix is opposite world?
Well, it's just the behavior of logic and conscience. And I think that's the best way to describe the past few months I've been going through. Realizing, things are already in their place.
Well, what was the question? What was the question that I just asked you?
Well, it sounded a little bit abstract. Like, could you rephrase it?
Yeah, I was asking, what has it felt like for you, your experience of washing belief? So that's the specific process that the DayLife Army facilitates and does ourselves. We wash belief every day. We help other people to wash belief.
You've done it before. I remember.
So
do you remember doing it? Do you remember washing?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit like, I don't know.
Well, have you?
I followed you guys a bit, but when you sent me and you told me about your links, I haven't been following very much. I know you guys do a lot of important things, and I've been consistently telling you I agree with most of it, but the way I'm trying this is a little more experimental, and in some ways more brave, in other ways a lot less.
Well, I can't remember exactly. I know that you have financially washed before, with me and Jesus, like both separately, but I can't remember if you've ever socially washed. So if you remember, like, I don't even know if we've talked to you much about social washing, but like when we say like post your thoughts about us in somewhere in public, or like repost something, maybe when you were more like online and active on social media. I just can't recall if we ever had asked you to do social washing, but I do know that for a fact you've done financial washing. And like way back when I first talked to you about it, I was probably like not telling you exactly about it the right way, as I was learning how to talk about it myself, and just like various levels of like integrity around it. But do you remember like what it felt like for you during the process, like when you actually were literally doing it, or like after? Was it and like I said, it can be negative. Like I felt like I was getting scammed and I hated it, or I felt nothing after, or I don't know why I did it, but I just felt like doing it and then I did it again. Like just your experience.
Well,
I think he doesn't want to do it because he knows that if he testifies about it in any way, that will actually be washing. And I feel like he doesn't want to wash again.
Okay. Right. So I get what you're saying. No, normally the scenarios where I am required to advocate for something for a change in society are usually met negatively. In one sense or another, there's rare scenarios people actually appreciate and agree with me and actually encourage my do anything. I mean, I live in the state of New York, and it's one of the most governmentally superimposed states. So.
You're truly an artist in not answering a question, Noah. I'm like very impressed. how
I
you've.
mean, I first told you the straight answer. I usually felt pretty proud, but
That's how you felt. You felt crowded by your experience in washing. That's how washing made you feel crowded.
Usually I'm discouraged.
It was discouraging making washes. Okay, great.
It's not like I felt like that. I felt proud, but I got discouraged.
Felt proud, but got discouraged.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for answering. That's all.
So how are you trying to change the world or save the world?
No, I mean, mostly by trying to give people better ways to be fair to each other and or better ways to try to understand social harmony.
And how are you doing that? Like on what venues? Person to person? Are you trying to collect people? Are you,
Well, it's usually just passerby conversations because I go hiking a lot. I was going to school. I am, in and out of different venues for various things. I don't have much of an opportunity but to drop off copies of my books that I print out for free, which includes an article I wrote called Logical, Moral, and Spiritual Semantics. And it's on the last page of my scientific theories and inventions book on my website, eski.info, ski.info.
Gotcha. Okay.
Logical, Moral, and Spiritual Semantics. ski.info is my website where you can find this article.
I remember when I first talked with you, probably almost 5 years ago, you were like sending me and trying to be like, read this book that I wrote. You were very much into your ideas and giving them to other people, sharing them with other people.
Was it the same book or a different book?
It must have been a different book. It was something else, I think.
Have you written multiple books?
Well, I mean, yeah, but the one I'm talking about is the one that would actually improve society. We do everything from mathematical symbols to logic and language itself wrong. Not to mention, almost all of our technology and chemistry is, if not hundreds of times more, to the point of being deadly explosive or flammable or dangerous or inefficient. Just wrong.
So no, I'm going to tell you the thing that I've told you a few times. It's usually when you like hang up the phone and block me is usually after I say these things. So I'm not actually saying any of your ideas are wrong. Like, I don't actually care if they're right or wrong. But I feel like the trap that you are in, and this is from our whole relationship and the whole thing that we've talked about, is that, you think that your intellectual reality is going to be what saves you in life. You think that your ideas and your thoughts and all being whatever, being a smarty pants is going to be, enough. Do you feel like it's enough, bro? Do you feel like you are living a full life? I'm a serious question because,
Well, I mean, yes. And if your question is serious, I'm sorry, for different reasons. But no, it's not enough to be smart and answer every question or whatever. Blah blah. If you think it is answering every question, I mean, in a way, it even almost kind of is. When I read my book and I think about it, it almost answers every question I have. But I keep my mind open. Now, no, it doesn't mean anything to me.
But do you keep your heart open, bro? Do you keep your heart open?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's exactly what I was getting at. It's like, okay, I figured out every problem with my intellect that allows me to you know, I could theoretically possess any technology I want to if people help me do the work and acquire material. But does it solve problems with the spirit? No. Does it solve problems with humanity and its love for itself? No. How do you figure that happens? Well, the answer is logic. The next step beyond logic is math. The next step beyond math is physics. That's how it works. So yes, I mean, in theory, you can try to understand the spirit in the sense of physics, and you can understand it in the sense of numbers, but it's technically logic.
See, that's like crazy.
And,
yeah.
And in a sense, it's logic then physics does not. But
So you're saying that like everything, you're saying that everything can be, you want to use logic as the route to understanding everything.
Bro, I understand.
So,
I understand. That's how I was
I don't
raised.
necessarily even think logic is the route to understanding everything if you want it to be that complicated. I'm just trying to.
But is understanding everything even the is that even the point?
Yeah,
is that the goal, bro?
Yeah.
Is that the goal?
Exactly.
Understanding everything.
Well, okay, bro. Well, then here's the
What about?
I'm still agreeing with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because to come to the conclusion that you have love, to come to the conclusion you have understood, to come to the conclusion you've done something positive, requires somehow you understand or somehow you did what was right, which involves those three: logic, math, and physics. If you're doing it right, you're doing it right. If you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong.
Let's get back to like, let's get out of the theoretical or the like the brain right now. Let's get to the body and like physical life, like where you are in your physical life, your location, your relationships with others, and your relationship with yourself, like,
And with the creator.
and with the creator as the foundation around all of those things that comes, like, what a, like, that seems like something I'd rather hear from you about than ideas and your books and your theories about things, because I'm going to say this in like a way that I'm not trying to be a bitch. I'm just trying to be like honest so that you know my reaction to this. Like when I hear someone, anyone, but in this case you, like when I hear someone trying to immediately talk to me about like ideas and theories and like their like creative endeavors, like, here, read this book I made or this album I made, I immediately like, I just kind of glaze over and I'm like, this isn't a real connection to another person. Like I'm not having like a.
What's the quality of your relationships? What are the quality and quantity of your relationships right now? Do you have a girlfriend? Like, are you like, bro, are you exploring those things? Are you exploring having better relationships? Are you like,
what are your relationships like with your parents, or what's it like when you're alone with yourself or with other people?
Right. Well, I mean, you know, when someone offers you a book or an album or whatever, that I think one of the reasons they try to do that is to avoid being too personal. That is one reason people balance out their life with, you know, because yes, when you don't meet a person by meeting something they did, especially implicitly against the past. You know, this is when the difference that they have ahead of them when they're showing you this is going to include the set of all things they were ignorant about, if they, for as much as they were wrong about what they're offering. So yeah, I mean, historically, things made by a person are not going to help you understand that person.
You know how
But, the question you asked as an aside, or as a counteraction to that was, like, do I have a girlfriend? Am I looking for this? Am I looking for that? Is important. That is important. I'm just trying to relate it to how whether or not, because when something is put in the past, like say someone hands me an ice cream cone or something, I say I want to save this ice cream cone in my freezer. I want it to be my friend for the rest of my life. I want it chosen for 700,000 years and more because it's my buddy now. Well, who's to argue I'm wrong? You know what I mean? This ice cream cone I'm talking about could very well be a part of that.
You know how I relate to most people nowadays, and the way that I relate, the people I'm like, I have the most relationship to or like connection with, or some know more as people, like actually know them more or feel connected, whatever type of connection it is anyone who's washing belief in any type of way that they wash. And it's like, that's kind of like
because of the vulnerability
that requires, and just that's where I'm investing my belief, and anyone else who invests belief in it, it's like that's my math. That's the math that I work with.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
that's
off.
that's all.
I just remember, it just reminded me of something that I hadn't thought about before, but I had a close friend and a business partner who ended up dying. He was sacrificed, in a literal satanic ritual. So he's not with us anymore in the physical plane. But when I first met him, his like way of like getting to know people, one of the first questions that he would ask someone was like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" And when that first happened, I was like, "Whoa, this is weird." Like, he doesn't want to hear about like art, or he doesn't want to just like know about some like intellectual stuff. He wants to know like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Like, what like. And he made judgments based on like what the answer to that question was. And I remember like he would introduce me to another artist. I think he introduced me to an artist that I really admired. I think even on the phone in the introduction, he was like, "Yeah, this is Idan. He has a girlfriend named, blah, blah, blah." He was like, that's anything that the form of relationship is like an important metric. And I just I forgot that until right now, how like uncomfortable that made me at the time, but how it's actually like, that actually does make a lot of sense, bro, because it just, there's a reason why in business you have to get married and have children, like to rise through the ranks. And even if you have to do it the fake way, like, or have fake children or get fake married.
Me personally, I don't think society obligates you to do anything, except for with the premise that if you do absolutely nothing, you probably will end up dead. That has kind of been a thing here.
Well, most of the time you end up dead regardless of whether you do something or nothing. It's whether you live your life dead or if you live your life alive. That really, like,
But nobody needs you to have kids. Nobody needs you to care about anyone else.
Jesus is saying in the business world.
All I'm saying is in the business world, if you want to rise through and do well in that matrix, you have to have children, and you have to prioritize. You absolutely.
It makes it easy to do so, but there's also things that come with it. It's easy to be an ass at doing so.
We're not giving a positive or negative value judgment.
No, I'm just saying, bro. You're the mathematician, bro. I'm just giving you stats. I'm just giving you math. You can choose to decide to turn it into whatever hypotheses you want. I'm just saying, like, literally.
You do make sense with that. You're right. Like in general, it does ask you that when you do stuff like this. Sure. But
So I'm asking you if I'm asking you if your math that you're doing, all of the intellectual stuff that you're doing is getting you, well, first of all, do you want a girlfriend? Do you want a quality relationship that you don't have? Like, what do you want? Great place to start. What do you want, Noah?
Well, I think one of the things, if you wanted to get into my views on romance.
I don't want to get into your views. I want to know what you want.
Well, I believe there's.
I don't want to get into your beliefs. I want to get into what you want.
Okay, I want my own universe.
You want your own universe?
Yes, and it's called going to heaven, finding magic and getting to heaven without dying.
Okay,
Got it.
that's a good place to start.
Yeah, and I have absolute proof it's possible. You see, I believe in polyamory.
Okay, so you want multiple relationships. You want multiple romantic relationships.
If you work out the biophysics of it, it's supposed to be a man with multiple women, and they all identify as the same man on the other side.
Okay, understood. So what we want you to do, Noah, is I would like you on this live to make, a wash, like whether it be a social wash through your social media, like
Even if you don't have active ones, if there's anyone that you still have like a login, and then you can put something up.
yeah, and you can explain a little bit what that looks like. You basically share something of the DayLife Army or the Pleasure Matrix, and you share it and say something about it, or making,
I have a website with the blog, and if you email me the link, my
Okay.
website sc.info.
Yeah, if
or
you
my email sc.info, I guess I'll make a blog post tonight just playing this podcast in my marathon.
Great.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
Make a blog post. I'll give you the links to use for it. You can text Jesus your email so I can send it to your email, and you can get that done as a social wash, and that would be great.
Sure.
Cool.
Great. Well, thanks for jumping on, Noah.
Yeah, nice to talk to you.
Yeah, have a great day, guys, and just remember, stay chill, stay analytical and stay smart about stuff, because being smart is what's going to get everyone to the safest place back. You got to share your knowledge.
Thanks, Noah.
To be able to share, you have to grow.
Thanks,
Bye,
Noah.
bye, Noah.
Take care.
See you later.
All right.
I'm gonna stay dumb instead of staying
I
smart.
could use some smart.
He's gonna stay smart.
I need to gain smart.
He needs to gain smart. I need to let go of some smart.
I think you could. I don't know. What smart do you feel like you need to let go of?
Intellectual smartness and
I could use some of that.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I feel like when I first started talking with Noah, we weren't even connecting. Like one question was asked and a different tangent was gone on. By the end of that call, we were more like talking, and the one thing that we said came off and did not bounce off him, but like got into his head more or something, if that makes sense.
Well, that is those scheduled calls. I think there's some other calls that I don't think are on there, but can happen. What else is on the agenda? DayLife, Mary.
Oh, not a lot today. I did go over the agenda with you before we started, so maybe it's a short one today. We're not going too deep in terms of length. Hopefully in a shorter time we can get to the deeper things, though. Oh, it's still hard for me to talk. I'm still struggling.
You struggling, bro?
I'm struggling. I'm struggling to connect my thoughts in my head to my mouth moving and saying things. Yeah. The only thing left actually that is scheduled, besides calls, is your 3 minutes or so talking about General Whiz. Your favorite.
You want me to do that right now?
I think I do. And I want, like, I know that your day type, it's not the point to be getting more real. You're not that. But I guess how I would say it is, like, if you can get into the heart of things and be, I'm not even going to say, like, tell the truth. Just, like, don't lie. And I know that, like, sometimes lies are, like, you really know that you're saying them. And sometimes there's lies that you really believe yourself because you're not wanting to face vulnerability or face loss or the truth. So you just, like, don't dig deep enough, or you're not feeling, I don't know how to put it. I'm not the most articulate today, but I would like that to be on your mind or in your heart as you do this.
Probably in my mind.
Maybe in your mind. Yeah, maybe less in your heart.
Don't come from the heart.
Yeah, just, talking about Wiz for a little while. Let's do it.
All right, Wiz. I fucking hate Wiz, to be very fucking clear. I'm extremely angry with Wiz all the time. I resent him. I don't appreciate him. And right now, I feel especially resentful for him scaling back whatever fucking abandonment he tried. He was like, for somewhat like pulling back on the abandonment in order to like deliver me, whatever anti-pep talks, whatever is going on right now. I don't appreciate it. I would, and in my, I guess how I feel in my anger is like, I thought you were fucking abandoning me. Why don't you stick with that? And otherwise, I resent how the whole thing where, yeah, I guess I got domed by you being like, if I wanted you out of this army, I would tell you, and then you would just, or not even tell you, you wouldn't be in this army if I didn't, if I wanted you gone, was something that he said at one point. And I resent that flex that you're trying to get on me. I resent, how you're always calling into question my fucking manhood, which is fucking annoying and not something I'm looking for. I don't like being called a fag. It makes me angry. And it just, it gets on my fucking nerves. And I'm mad that that's like a fucking button that keeps on getting pressed over and over and over and over and over again. And, I don't respect that. Or maybe I do respect it and I don't like it. And it makes me angry that I do respect it. And I don't appreciate how, being dangled the fucking, like that, whatever, we're going to be replaced or whatever. Like, I'm like, do the thing. I'm just pissed. I don't know. I'm pissed. That's how is that what I was supposed to do? Like,
I mean, you were given a pretty open-ended prompt.
That's how I feel, bro. Honestly, I do have respect for Wiz. And I wish I could be a little bit more like Wiz in, the way that maybe I feel like I, am treated is probably how I should be treating other men. I don't know how to be assertive with men, and he does it to me, and I resent it. And but I guess I also respect it. And I have, whatever, mainly negative feelings about the guy, even though he's a genius crackpot who like figured out this whole thing and, gave me a girlfriend and like, a life and got me off drugs and, glowed me up in all the ways that he did. I still don't like him and I'm mad. So,
side note, the only cult I know of where you can hate everyone who made it and still want to stay in it. And like, you don't have to like, this is something that the generals are taking real, they're like digging into themselves or saying and talking to us about. So I'm like, it's on my mind. You don't have to like the people that do this. You don't have to like washing. Most people don't like washing any type of way. Most people don't like, at any given moment, they won't like people in this cult. Sometimes we do and don't and whatever, but yeah. It doesn't make it not work that you don't like the thing or the person whenever you don't like them. And maybe sometimes it's that really you're just like, you love it.
Yeah.
Maybe you love it, and love and hate are really close. And there's some things that I feel like some things that when I change them about myself or when I get over certain things, some of my hates will be revealed as not hates and perhaps like ways I was disappointed in my own self. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, you want to do 2 hours? You want to do another 2 hours? I feel like we're good.
No,
But-
let's just round it out at 2. So we'll be done in around 15 minutes.
Well, what are we doing? What's the final? I'm glad we didn't put the length of the video in the title of the video.
I didn't do
as,
that on
like,
purpose because
accountability.
I think I kind of knew that I was a little crazy today and that I might not be able to handle even 4 hours. So, yeah, I'm going to feel it out, and stopping at 2 seems like the right move. Also, I really care about how things look, and I'm a little bummed with this live today. I feel like my presentation of myself is not where I wanted it to be. You know, I wanted to say and sound differently than I said and sounded today. But whatever. Sometimes it's just not what the reality of the situation is. Sometimes you're not at where you want to be at. You're just at where you are at.
So are you at where you don't want to be?
You know, if I didn't care as much and I did a little less caring, I would be like, whatever. It's my control-y side that's like, I'm not where I want to be right now. I'm not sounding as awesome and perfect, and I'm just looking a little tired and bickery. But I guess maybe that's more real. You know? I'm definitely not feeling like, I'm not feeling it at all manic in the ways I have felt the last 2 times we did a longer live.
Yeah. This is the depression crash live.
I think that that's it. And I think I'm angry that I'm having the depression crash live because I'm so like, I so want to defeat these cycles. And when I am in them and it's very clear, I like don't even want to face it. I'm like, oh, I'm not having the crash right now because I don't want to admit that I got too manic and crazy. But like, I am kind of, I think, having a little bit of the crash.
Well, yeah, I think we should wrap it up. Thank you for joining us. Do you want to do anything to like not end on that note? Like, I want to do, you know, what would be like a way to just stick the landing?
Let's see. I would just like to end this by saying that we are really in the spooky season right now, it is the couple week period where, you know, the veil is thin, as they say. The demonic entities are like out to play in full force. And the pay matrix is running so many crazy programs right now.
Pogroms.
No pun intended.
Pogroms.
Like
Programs.
so many crazy things to get you spooked the F out. So if you're feeling the spooky season right now, might I suggest not delving deeper into it and believing in it more by going out and celebrating satanic rituals, even through the eating of candy and donning of costumes or drinking of spirits on this important moment and week or two or strong or two to be like not getting crazy or spooked. Like, I just want to end this by saying, instead of going out and partying, instead of drinking, instead of eating candy and watching Halloween movies, instead of scrolling Twitter and watching the fear porn, or the luge extracting, emotion draining, whatever porn storylines, make a wash instead. See what that does for you. See how it grounds you if you're way too manic right now, or
Call a
perhaps
DayLife soldier.
brings you up a little if you're in a depressive hole. Whatever evening out you need right now to get through this spooky season and like remain tethered in whatever way you can to just human beingness and like
Being
a
alive.
smooth being alive, whatever that. Yeah, just don't do the other things. Don't do the rituals. Don't do the parties. Don't do the fear, and make a wash instead. So you can text the pinned number or call it if you want to talk to Jesus. You can message me on my Instagram, DayLife Mary. Ask how to make a wash. If you have no money, ask how to make a social wash. Make a financial wash, make a social wash. Do one and then do the other. Pairs is very helpful in terms of how you do washing. So while I'm like kind of ending this, showing a bit of my cards of like how I'm being affected by spooky season and like going through a little bit of the Halloween crazy ride, like I have things that help me not go wacko mode, and I can facilitate that. We can both facilitate that for you.
It's been a pleasure being live with you.
You know, it's been real. So
It's been fake on my end.
yep.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna take a break. Take a break.